Mm. Greetings, Eric Bakker, naturopath from New Zealand, author of Candida Crusher. I've got a question here from a guy in the States. I'm not going to mention his name, he wanted to stay anonymous. And he's asking me, Eric, what are the signs and symptoms of leaky gut syndrome? Well, the signs and symptoms are really, there can be a ton of them. I did a video before on really, I've done a few videos on leaky gut, and I did one just before basically on what sort of conditions, how do you know that you've got leaky gut? What are some of the conditions that, that are obvious with it? So the most common signs and symptoms of leaky gut syndrome really are gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. These are very common ones. So there are tons of them. You can get digestive discomfort with irritable bowel, with leaky gut. And a common place to get it is anywhere around here, where the small intestine is, anywhere sort of around this region is centrally. The large intestine tends to be more the perimeter, and the small intestine tends to be more central. So anywhere central. And this is why people with parasites tend to have more of a sensation around the umbilical cord, because that's really a central part of the small intestine. And parasites, in my opinion, especially acute parasite infections, tend to favour the small intestine, particularly the centre of it, the ileum. But when you've got leaky gut, you could also feel sensations a little bit higher up, and they can be here sometimes. You could almost think you've got heartburn. Leaky gut doesn't usually radiate any pain towards the back like a gallbladder pain or pancreatic pain will. It tends to be more frontal. And it can be something like bloating or gas or having to undo your waistband after a meal. Generally, you're not going to get pains off to the side, as I mentioned, because that's generally more colon or large intestine dysfunction. So it'll be a central kind of disturbance. But a lesser known complaint of leaky gut can be things like brain fog, itchy skin, sore joints, seasonal allergies, immune dysfunction, insomnia. There can be a whole raft of different things that signal leaky gut syndrome. So remember, what we're doing with leaky gut is we're allowing undigested food particles to enter into the bloodstream, or potentially candida, or cell debris, or all sorts of rubbish that really should be digested properly and filtered through the microvilli, but they're bypassing the microvilli and getting in through the intracellular junctions and challenging the immune system. So when we challenge the immune system, there could be a myriad of complaints that could be possible. Thyroid dysfunction, autoimmune disease, diabetes, all sorts of conditions can occur as a result, long term in particular, of leaky gut. So leaky gut is something that you want to really fix up in the early stages, rather than let it build up over 10, 20, 30-year period when it gets seriously bad. Imagine you've got a small amount of rot in a roof of a house. In fact, my house that I'm living in now, this is the rebuilt section, but the old house up the front here, I've got a 100-year-old cottage. We built this extension on, but when we put a whole new roof over the lot, we found so much rot in the roof of the old house. It cost me a fortune to get all the new, beams replaced. Had that been repaired a long time ago, maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago, it would have been quite cheap, but now it was in the tens of thousands of dollars to repair that damage, because the damage just continued on and on and on. And if that damage would have continued on for many more years, the whole roof would have had to be replaced. All the timber would have had a huge cost. Now, your digestive system's like that. If you don't fix something up now, where you've got a bit of gas or a bit of bloating or a few headaches or aches or pains, you can imagine what will happen if you leave that undisturbed for 20, 30, 40 years. Those are the sort of functional complaints that end up becoming autoimmune diseases and even cancer. Lots of people laugh and joke when they pass gas, they fart. But what they don't realise is that this condition left, if it gets serious and long term, is going to be a major problem. And then there's no more laughing. Then there's crying. All right. So a stitch in time saves 9. So you will know you've got irritable. I keep saying irritable bowel. You will know you've got leaky gut syndrome by a functional complaint. It may be mildly annoying. It might be majorly annoying. And as I mentioned, it's often going to be gas or bloating, but allergies are quite common with it as well. Skin conditions, we mentioned in a previous video, acne, psoriasis, food intolerances, mood disorders, depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, arthritis, many conditions. So you really need to work out if you've got leaky gut first before you know if you can fix it up. And we'll talk a little bit about some testing for leaky gut coming up in a few minutes. So I hope that answers your video, Mr. XYZ in America. Thanks for tuning in today.